started, there will be a follow-up to this, as there will be from now on for all of our art at noon. There will be an art walk that will follow up. We've done that periodically, but we're really going to do our best to do it this year to start off a new one. One of the things that I'll introduce, we will be a lot of the presentations that I'll give up through October
Excuse
will
me, can
be.
everyone please mute until we're doing the interactive part because we're getting some background noise. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Uh, just to give you a little update, our next huge art walk is in Boston in October this year. So a lot of the presentations that I'll be giving this year will be a prelude, like I did to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. and New York, to get you, those of you that will be going with us, to kind of get you familiarized with what we're doing. So without having said, and this is the invitation to our art walk for the Still Life art walk is going to be Tuesday, February the 10th. We're going to be at the Comer, and they have about 7 or 8 still life paintings, and one of them is absolutely excellent. It's a very, very good representation of still life art. We'll have lunch at the Comer Cafe. If you want to have the lunch and the tour, the cost is $40. If you want the tour and just come on the tour, it's 15. And how you get to that and reserve it is you go to our website and scroll down to events, and you will see, I think you will see this poster, right, Catherine?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you will
We
see
have
this
all of our
event.
upcoming events, and there's a button that you click to purchase whichever ticket you're going to go with. One thing to remember, the tour does not include the Comer admission because many of our Art at Noon members are already members of the Comer. And so if you're not a member, you have to buy your Comer ticket. So just an FYI.
All right, let's begin. So now the official welcome begins. And let me find it. Y'all know. So, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here at Art at Noon. Today, we're stepping into one of the quiet but powerful traditions in art history called still life painting. We're going to begin with this wonderful still life by my favorite all-time painter, Caravaggio, who painted this around 1599. Now, at first glance, when you're looking at it, it looks like, perhaps to you, a simple basket of fruit and leaves. But look closer. Some leaves are curling, fruit is ripening past perfection, and beauty and decay are sitting side by side. In this humble basket, Caravaggio shows us something really important. Still life is never about objects. It's about life itself, and thus the term still life. The use of objects to carry meaning is ancient. In ancient Egypt, painting of food and vessels were placed in tombs to sustain the soul. In Greece and Rome, artists painted everyday items with astonishing realism. And by the 1600s, Dutch artists perfected still life painting. By creating detailed scenes of tables and flowers and bread and glassware. These paintings celebrated daily life and beauty, but it also reminded viewers that time passes and life is fragile. Still life continues today. Artists from George O'Keeffe, Matisse, Monet, Picasso, Salvador Dali, to contemporary photographers, every painter that paints will probably paint a still life. And using these simple objects to explore structure, emotion, memory, and meaning. Still life asks us to slow down, to notice light, to see beauty in ordinary things and to remember something real important. Time is moving and that life is precious. So today we aren't just looking at fruit and flowers, ladies and gentlemen. We're practicing attention, reflection, and gratitude. So, welcome to Art at Noon. What is still life? Well, still life is a painting that arranges objects, whether it's fruit, flowers, bread, glass, books, shells, candles, simple things. But what looks simple often carries extremely deep meaning. And we find out that still life is just not about things, it's about life. But before we begin to look at still life and look at the essence of the program, I want to review something with y'all. We've been together, some of us have been together now for 6 years, going on 6 years. And throughout that time, the goal of Art at Noon has been to help enrich your lives and help you enjoy and be a lifelong learner with arts, artists, and the process of art, whether it's music, dance, literature, whatever it is. And also to encourage you to go and visit galleries and museums. Now, sometimes that's a bit overwhelming. When you walk into a huge, like the Metropolitan Museum of Art or even Cummer Gallery, when there's all these paintings and objects out, what do I do? How do I go? Where do I start? So I'm going to give you a few review over the years, and I put together this little how to look at art guide. And I want to review it with you today because I think it's important to have something in your mind when you go to a gallery or a museum and you look at art objects and art. So, first of all, my step is slow looking. Just the average person, the average person that goes to a museum and looks at artwork for only 8 seconds. So, to truly engage, you need to practice that slow looking method. Give it time. Spend 3 to 5 minutes with a single piece of artwork. Um, Look before reading. That's the first thing you want to do. You want to look at that little card. But before you do that, look at it. Resist that urge to read that label and form your own impressions so that the artist's bio doesn't detect your reaction. And the scanning technique. Look at the whole piece. When all of us went to visit recently, the Wyeth exhibit at the Cummer, and if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it's still on, but you really need to go see that one. It's great. I suggested to all of you to look at those paintings from a different perspective, just not dead on. Get over to the side, or if you can get under it and look at it. Really, truly scan that. And then get up close and look at the brush strokes and see the texture of it. And after you look at it from a whole distance. And then the scanning technique. Look at the whole picture, as I said. And then next, use the second step is to use some kind of a mental framework. Just create something in your mind. If you feel stuck, I have a method that I've always used, and it's called the DAIJ method. D for description, A for analysis, I for interpretation, and J for judgment. All right. And it's so simple. You can just remember, I like those acronyms. The D stands for description. How do you really, what do you literally see? I mean, literally, when you look at it. Look at this picture. What do you literally see? Well, I see an apple. I see a shell. I see Wonder Woman holding a match. I see flowers. But specifically, what do you see? And then analysis. How do you think the artist made this? I believe this is a painting. So, but it could be a watercolor, a a photograph. How did the artist do that? And then interpretation. Why was it made? Uh, what is the story? Or what is the mood? Well, to me, the story has got to some, the Wonder Woman definitely is down there. And so in my feeling of a story, and then I see, well, gosh, there's an apple that's been chewed on, and I see that. And then I see the story. Well, there's a shell. Why would Wonder Woman, a match lit, a shell, and an apple half eaten or partially eaten? And then she's got all these flowers, and they're all arranged, and they're not all the same flowers. There looks like there's baby breath, and maybe there's some rosemary in there. I don't know. Maybe some herbs. Some of you that are gardeners could probably asters. They don't look like they look like maybe they were gathered from a garden, perhaps. Okay. And then after you kind of do that, then make a little judgment. Do you like it? J for judgment. Do you like it? It's perfectly okay, my friends, to hate a piece of art as long as you can articulate why. Why don't I like it? And sometimes when you ask yourselves, why don't I like this? You start entering into a questioning period, and you find out things about the art that you didn't even realize you knew when you asked that question. And last, make it personal. Art is a conduit to your own emotions. Ask yourself, how does it feel? Does it make you feel peaceful or anxious, nostalgic? What's the catch light? Now, what do I mean by catch light? In portraits, you always look for the tiny little specks in the eyes, okay, of the person whose portrait is being painted. That's called the catch light because that's where the connection is made with the center, with the sitter is with that. And then everybody right now, look at this painting, and I want you to picture yourself stepping inside it. Just step inside this painting. Where would you stand? What would you hear? So those are just kind of overall examples of what I do when I go. I try to do these things, and I've kind of put them together for you to kind of think about. And then when you go to a museum or an art gallery, optimize your visit. You're looking for quality over quantity because it's just there is such a thing as museum fatigue. Everybody gets it when you walk into one of those huge museums. Don't try to see everything. Uh, Pick one or two galleries, ignore the rest. What I like to do is, if it's possible, is to take an overall guided tour of a museum, get a docent and go on one of those. And for every trip that we take, especially the ones to like the Met, the Philadelphia Museum of Art, all of those large museums, I always get a docent who is trained and knows what the belly of the museum is about and takes you on it. And then you get a little time to go back. And if you do some, how we say, information research before you go, you'll pick up. Every year I go to New York City, and every year I go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And before I go, I always see what exhibits are on. And I always look for my favorites. I always go and see Mary Cassatt. I always go see Van Gogh's shoes. Those are the ones in Rembrandt. So those are the types of things too. And the other thing is go alone. This is one place that you can go by yourself if you want to and just sit and just enjoy it. I have a favorite piece at the Comer, and I go back and forth to Jacksonville every week. And sometimes I'll pull into the Comer and I go and I just sit in front of my favorite piece of art and just say, it's mine. It's my piece. Um, and then take a friend with you too, because there is not anything better than sitting down and just like I bet a lot of you are in book clubs. Okay, I bet 90% of you are, most of you are. It's the same thing. You like to discuss a good book. Last night in our book club, Carol and I are in the same book club, and we had the best discussion. Everybody was involved, and I left with a better knowledge of that book because of the discussion that was around that table. And it's the same with art. We all discovered that with the Andrew Wyeth exhibit that we went to together when I paired you up and had you go and discuss that art. And I heard a lot of people say, okay, I understand it a little better, or, oh gosh, I wasn't thinking it that way. And then if you like landscapes, when you go to a gallery or a big museum, go to the landscape section. If you like portraits, go to the portrait section. So I hope these little tips, even if you don't remember all of them, I hope maybe one or two of them, resonates with you so that when you go and visit a museum or an art gallery, that you have a place, a starting place. So now let's get back to where we need to be, still life, okay? So this is one of the most famous still life paintings of all time. Caravaggio only he was a prolific artist, and they knew that he did a lot of still life, but there's only been really like two or three paintings that are really that they can attest to him, and this is one of them. And the first one that I showed you when we first came in was still life. So I'm going to go through a list of questions that I'm going to be asking you. And I want all of you to try and enter in and think about these questions as we go, because I would like to ask them of you, because that's the way. If you can verbalize something, you're going to internalize something. That's an old teacher trick, okay? So let's take this first one. Who lives here? When you look at this painting, and this is before you know anything about still life, we're just going to go and we're going to just kind of look at still life just as we're all novices. So, what kind of person might own these objects? Well, first of all, let's look at the objects kind of up close, okay? Um, it's interesting because you'll see they're basically things that you eat, right? Looks like they're melons, fruit of some sort, okay? Probably back in the Renaissance period, if you were, if you weighed probably over 150 pounds, you were pretty rich because you were able to eat and afford these things. I always look at the Rubens women and think, golly, they were so wealthy. There's these big, broad women, and that they ate well. So if you look at this, the fruit, you can, and you notice something. But let's also look now. What what do you think is just happened, or what do you think is about to happen in this? And I'm just going to tell you what I think. I think what's about to happen, it looks like they've got the table is laden. Maybe people are going to come in after work, or maybe it's an afternoon and maybe they're going to sit down and have a little bit of fruit to eat. The table is laden with it. All of the fruits of maybe some of these have just been picked. Who knows? What object is the main character in this particular? Let me go back. I always do that. What object seems to be the main character? Well, I think, to me, the main characters is right in here. My eye goes to these pumpkin or
Gourds.
gourd looking fruits. But then my eye goes over to this too, because I see this watermelon, and then there's a portion of it's been cut out. Um, so the next question that I would ask myself about this is, uh, what will change first? What type of these things will change first? Well, I don't know, but I have a feeling maybe if these are figs, and I'm thinking they are, thinking maybe that they'll go first. Maybe the melon because it's been cut into, but then we've got looks like a squash type thing that's over here, and there's things coming out of it. And I think maybe the fruit will spoil. This definitely going to spoil. Uh, the melon probably, since it's been open, will spoil. So, what could this possibly be saying about life? What could this whole thing, because still life is about life. Um, well, the painting that we see here is attributed to the artist's hand and is one, like I told you, one of the two still life scenes that we know are attributed to him. And contrary, Caravaggio dealt in uh, darkness. His big thing, he was so dramatic. And you will see a lot of still life paintings are that way too. There's a dark blackness around them, and then the objects come forward. However, in this particular one, this is kind of a uniform light, which is unusual for him. So there's a light that kind of basks the whole painting. And it's a uniform light, and it's also there's a composition that's populated by arrangements of fruits and vegetables that really kind of is what he tries to get at, the message of life and fertility, and that to some, and some people even said it has sexual connotations. I've looked at that one. I haven't been able to find that yet. If y'all do, let me know, okay? It is said, though, the real interesting thing, and this is one of those like urban legend, it's said that when Caravaggio painted this particular still life, that he poked holes in the top of his ceiling so that the light could come in. All right, now I'm going to ask you these questions, and Catherine, you can call on people for me if you will. I
Okay.
want you to answer these questions. Okay, first of all, someone, who do you think lives here? Raise your hand. Come on, everybody, so we can go fast.
Rich person.
Okay. All right. All right. What just happened or is about to happen in this picture? Come on, Grady.
They're eating.
A feast.
Yeah,
Okay. Right. Okay. What object is the main character in this picture?
the cheese,
Uh-huh. The cheese.
the
Okay.
broken bread.
Right. Bread. Okay. Uh, what is going to change first? Catherine, what do you think is going to change first?
I think they'll finish the wine.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. What do you think? What do you think is going to wilt or spoil, or what do you think is going to disappear?
There's an apple cut in half. The apple's going to get brown, and then there's a orange is cut, so it's going to have to be eaten.
Okay.
About the bread, is there bread to the right?
It's been torn, yeah, so it
Yeah.
needs to be eaten.
Okay. All right. How is this composition arranged? Carol Folsom, tell me, how is it arranged?
Well, it's kind of sloppy.
I love it. What do you think, Robin? How's it arranged?
Pretty random.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
There's a pattern to the light, though. If you start in the upper left and go to the lower right, it's light all the way diagonally across the painting.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Although
Any,
I will say that the table itself appears to be very elegant.
so what kind of people do you think own this place, Paul?
I would say they're very well to do.
Yes, they are. Okay. What do you think perhaps the painting is trying to say about life? Anybody?
Fleeting, rich,
Okay.
fruitful,
Uh-huh.
nutty.
Mhm.
Yeah, and all of the above. Notice but I want you to notice a couple of things as we go through, okay? Because there's going to be some things that you're going to see. I want you to notice, first of all, the glasses, and notice that where the liquid is. I'm not going to tell you, and you don't have to say it. I want you to notice if anything is peeling, or any of those peeling. I don't see anything that are peeling. Um, the and I want you to notice the texture of this. And I wish I could have gotten a better picture, but they're so hard to get from the internet. All right, let's move on to another one. Okay. Now,
Wow.
okay. All right, this is a still life. All right, first of all, who do you think lives here? Who do you think lives here?
A writer.
A writer? Okay.
Scientist,
Okay.
doctor.
Okay, great. What do you think happened or is just about to happen?
Hmm.
Do you think this is a moment of celebration? Or is it quiet or is there change going on?
I see frustration.
Okay.
Spilled glass, tipped
Well,
over inkwell. I guess that's an inkwell.
if you look here,
And it's spilled glass.
yeah,
Mhm.
see the ink, the well.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, then let's go over here. You've got a
Who
glass
did
that's,
this painting? Who's the artist?
oh gosh, I did not write it down, but I'll get it to you.
Okay.
This is there's not a candle in it, is there?
Oh,
Mhm.
look,
Yeah, there's something's burning.
Uh-huh.
incense.
What object is the main character?
Skull.
Skull.
What?
The scary skull.
Skull.
That scary skull. Okay. What do you think is going to fade or change first in this picture? Anything? Or spoil or disappear?
The
You-
glass might fall.
Okay.
How
And
I
that
about
would-
glass looks so
burning?
awkward.
How
Okay.
about the burning whatever in the candle holder?
Look at the composition.
Oh,
Are,
there is some
are
smoke.
are the objects balanced, crowded, centered, or scattered, or something else?
Just the glass looks so odd the way it's sitting.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't it propping up the skull? I mean, I
You
can
think
almost
that's what-
imagine he was writing about
It's
the
an
skull.
But I would think
eavesdropping
the
And he was
skull was
skull.
sitting.
interrupted.
The skull looks sitting pretty sturdy on its own.
Absolutely.
He's
Okay.
eavesdropping.
Oh, he's hearing something through the glass.
Uh, what do you think, just from looking at it, the composition's saying about life?
Another memento mori, remember death. That's always when they put a skull in. So
Yes, that is true. And thank you for jumping ahead and stealing my thunder. Okay, one more for the road. Okay, let's take one more. All right, this is a very simple one, but what kind of a person? Now, and I want us to identify the objects first, okay, before we do that. All right, here we have the grapes. All right, we have some type of fruit here, maybe peach, oranges.
Hmm.
We have a bowl, it looks like raspberries,
Mm-hmm.
okay, strawberries, but we do have something behind it. We do have this leaf, and the leaf is not, doesn't look like it's green, does it? Okay, and it is sitting on a table. All righty, so let's go back. So, what kind of a person might own these objects?
A gardener, maybe? I don't
Okay,
know.
all
Yeah.
right,
Cook?
okay.
A cook?
Maybe a cook.
Perhaps a cook. What do you think just happened or maybe is about to happen in this picture?
The
Maybe
thing
it's just
preparation of a meal.
Okay. What object is the main character?
I don't know if it's the grapes or the raspberries, to tell you the truth. They both look equal to me.
Okay.
Raspberries are so bright.
Uh-huh. What do you think is going to fade first in this?
Raspberries.
Raspberries.
Does anybody know what the things that look like eggs are, though? Those look like eggs
These
to
right
me.
here. I'm not
on the right,
because of
look like plums.
Yeah,
Like a
No, no,
white
no, not
plum.
those. The ones that look like eggs. The
this
light
right
In the
here.
ones.
center,
If you
Yeah.
notice how it's too round for an egg, because if you'll notice right here, there's
got a
that
little-
Ridge.
there's
little
that
groove in
indent.
them
Where
like
do
a
we go?
peach.
It's coming. It's just like this is a real crazy thing here. Excuse me. Let me get back to where it's supposed to be.
Looks like albino plums to me.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, Lord. It's
Oh, well.
frozen. No, hang on. 1 minute. We'll get it back. It's just not just there we go. Okay, maybe I can get it back now. This is when the thing is black, so black that you can't see it, and then it hits, and I believe we're frozen. Okay, hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. Let me see if we got it. There we go. I'm sorry. Okay. So we've kind of gone through this. How is this composition arranged though?
Balanced.
Horizontally.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. And what do you think it might be saying about life? Just anybody got any ideas? Well, I was just thinking about the grapes being wine and the wine
Mhm.
of life, and you know, things are fleeting. Uh,
Yeah, these are all at their peak or at their freshness.
Yep.
But that like maybe the brown leaf in the background hints that they won't always be that fresh. But everything here is pretty good at the time.
And
Maybe
life
just
is
hard.
right, and life is fleeting. Enjoy it while you can. So, hopefully, you've seen or kind of gone along with it that there's two in still life, there's what we call two big moods. Okay. There is one mood is abundance and gratitude. Okay. The goodness of daily life. The other mood is the passing of time, the truth that life is beautiful. And we describe those two as vanitas and memento mori. If you look at this one, this over here, this particular, hopefully I don't lose you again. I'm going to try not to. This particular vanitas is a still life, and it is the, oh, I'm going to go on this one. Let me go over here. Let's go back to this one. This one's better to do. Let me do this one first. Okay, and we want to go here. We want to go over here. Okay. So if this is Vanitas 2 and Memento Mori,
It's
this really is Memento Mori. Over this fella this is called Still Life with a Skull. That's what an interesting, he was a great still life painter, and his name was Garrett Drew. He's known for his obsessive attention to detail, as he could spend a day working on just one single element of his paintings. And this Vanitas, the artist's ability to reproduce details is evidence. He's got books, he's got prints, he's got unfinished paintings, he's got a skull, he's got a convex mirror. It's also located in the background of the painter, and I don't know if I can get it up to it. Yeah, here it is. So I can get it. And notice what he's done there in the convex mirror, okay? And next to this painting of what appears to be another still life scene hangs on the wall right here. It's a, and this is a, you can't see it, but this is a skull also. And uh, this particular painting is called a memento mori because the title is Remember You'll Die. Okay. Then we have this one over to the side. And let me see if I can push it. Okay. All right. This is another still life. And this one is a painting, as you can see, by Clara Peters. Uh, in the Renaissance era, was Renaissance. There were quite a lot of excellent women painters in the Renaissance era, and they're just now coming to light. And the Clara Peters was one of them. And she was one of the very few female painters that was practicing actively, and I'm sorry, in the 1600s. Um, Peters was painting many realistic still lifes, frequently featuring groupings. This was her big thing of valuable objects, such as goblets and gold coins and rare flowers, which she placed on edges, on narrow edges. One of the artist's most famous work, and this is Still Life with a Fish and Cat. They had really good titles, okay? Still Life with a Fish. In this work, she depicted the abundance of a household with great detail. The scales of the different types of fish are stacked on top of one another, and they stand out as well as the cat included in the right lower corner that holds a fish under his paw. The whole composition has a really dim light, and only a few accents of light give it this dramatic feeling. So let's go over what vanitas is, because this is the important thing. Vanitas is a type of still life that reminds us that life's pleasures are temporary. The word comes from the Latin meaning emptiness, or vanity. These paintings often show beautiful or luxurious things, fruit, flowers, jewelry, musical instruments, alongside of objects that suggest time is passing. And common common veritas symbols are perhaps a wilted flower, as you see here, half-peeled fruit, time is passing, half-peeled fruit, an hourglass, or a watch. And the message is,
And a glass of wine half empty.
yeah, that's true too. Um, and the message isn't don't enjoy life. The message is more enjoy beauty, but remember, it doesn't last forever. Okay. And then we have the second mood of the still life, which is memento mori. And memento mori is Latin for remember, you will die. Okay. And that sounds severe, right? Kind of severe. But in art, it's meant to encourage humility and gratitude and spiritual awareness and living with a purpose. So, common memento mori symbols were the skull. Okay, the skull was one, of course, bones, smoke from a candle. There is a wonderful Van Gogh memento mori that I'm sure a lot of you have seen with the open Bible and the candle beside it, and it's just a really simple, beautiful, beautiful painting. Dying candle, flaming flowers, and the message, even though it's a scary looking, uh, a scary looking painting, the message is not gloomy. It's a wake up call.
Mm.
Life is precious, and use your time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be detectives, okay? We are now art detectives. Uh, what just happened here? And who set the table? Oh, this is such a good one, y'all. I want you to look at everything. Okay. Let me just zoom in because I love this one. So, okay. First of all, I want you to notice something. This and this happens a lot in still life. They will put vessels or objects and hang them half off the table. Okay. You would notice that. You notice that things are being eaten. There's little debris everywhere. There you see the peelings, the lemon peelings, okay? The oysters are symbolic. You will see oysters a lot that are symbolic. But look at this puppy. Here, this is a turkey pie with the turkey, a real honest to God turkey on top of it. Here is a here it was dead. But anyway, the turkey has, oh my gosh, a wilted flower. And here you see the shell, an open shell, which is reminiscent of fertility. And associated, believe it or not, they tried to say that in certain books that I read that Mary, when you see a shell, Mary, because there's a whole thing about snails. You will see snails in these life, and snails. And okay, Grady Johnson, help me with this word. Hermaphroditic. What do you say that when they're neither female or male? What is that word? They're the snails
Oh,
are. Come on, help me.
hermaphroditic.
Well, whatever. But anyway, they're not one gender. And they associated the snail with Mary, the virgin birth. Now, come on, guys, that's pretty good. Okay, that's taken it away. Okay. All right, and then over here you see a little curled up piece of paper, and you see all of these fruits that we were talking about that fading. Um, these artists, oh, and here you go again. Remember with the glass half filled, the water. And in this one, and I wish we could get it, in this one, you will see the artist's reflection in this one. And sometimes, and that's what they did with mirrors or with glasses of water, you will see the reflection of something else. These guys were extremely skilled. This is from the Dutch banquet. And it's a luxurious table setting. And he's selling his talent too. Okay. Um, what first catches your eye in this picture? What is the first thing that catches your eye in this picture?
The turkey.
Yes, the good old turkey. Does mine too. Okay. All right. The turkey. Okay. Um, the wine jar also stands out. Okay. And it reflects a window. I'm sorry, it reflects a window at part of a laid table, but also the blurred figure of the painter. Here we see how is the passage of time symbolized in this particular painting? How is it symbolized? What do you think symbolizes the passage of time?
Everything's half
Things are
eaten.
eaten.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Yes.
half
there
eaten
you go.
meal.
Yeah, yeah. Half eaten milk,
Can you
correct.
can you point out where you're seeing the artist vision?
Yeah, I don't think you can see it, Robin, because it's so blurred. But
Uh,
but I
is
will.
it in the glass, the water
Yes,
glass?
yes, it's in
Yeah,
the
in the
water
water
glass,
glass.
Oh,
right up here. But you can't see it. It's reflected in there,
uh,
in the water
okay.
Wow.
glass. And if you look over here, he's reflected.
That
It,
I say.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's reflected it too. But it's also a reflection of the water glass
Mm.
as well. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
There's no wine in this one. This is water.
yeah,
Look. Okay.
it looked like. Now this is even that still life from ancient Egypt all the way up through the Renaissance, the 1800s, and then in modern time, the modern painters picked up still life as well. I do not know the names of all of these artists, but I certainly know this is Cezanne here, and we go all the way through uh, and even today, contemporary Andy Warhol, with
Mm.
the cans, the soup cans. Uh, Still life is just a practice that I think most artists are given to start out with. And really, because they can do everything with it, they can control light, they control balance, they can control if the fruit starts withering, they can go get another one and put it in, in if they want it, if they don't want it to be. It's something they don't have to pay, especially they don't have to pay, a sitter or someone for it. It's there. I mean, for them to arrange objects any way they want and call what it is. But look at this. What has anything changed from those earliest still lives to these modern ones to you? And just looking at these four,
Just the treatment, the number of colors and the treatment, however they were used. Some don't even look like they're oil. They look like acrylic or something.
do
Or
you know what?
watercolor.
Yeah, a friend of mine said something that we were looking at these together, or still life together, the modern painters. And she said, I think the modern, which I think is unusual, but now I see it. She said, I think it has a quieter feel than the earlier ones. The Dutch ones that we just saw. I think is a kind of
Not this, not the one not the one with the black roof. Not
uh
that one, right?
but she's just I think she was returning to just there was especially in Cezanne and of course the sunflowers, you know. She just felt like it did, and I can kind of see that a little bit.
What
Um,
is the draped fabric? Does that have a special meaning?
it's yeah, I think so.
I think it does too. They do the half revealed. Your future is hidden.
Mm.
A little deep.
If you will see a lot of still life paintings have curtains in them, a lot, where or the object is sitting on a table and the curtain is drawn. Grady's got a great example in his house that I just discovered, after 14 years. And the uh the the still life is there on the table, but there is a curtain that is revealing it. And I've always thought it was a part of the painting until I started looking at it.
Don't you
Oh,
think that's mainly to add texture and softness to the painting, though? Not necessarily a deep
I,
meaning, like
I
there's
think
something
I
hiding.
think I think that's right too. I think you're
Mm.
absolutely correct on that. But I think with,
Texture.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think that I really do believe that curtains are used throughout all art in
Mm.
all kinds of different ways symbolically. And Revelation is one of them.
And to control light and dark.
Yep, that's true.
I also think that, especially with regards to the window and what we're seeing, that I mean, there's something beyond. There's something,
Abs
Mm.
that's what you're seeing immediately.
Absolutely. You're dead on. Now, let's talk about the language. I'm not going, if you go on the art trip with us, you're going to get a little packet with all of this in it. I'm
Mm.
just kind of titillating you to get you to go to come walk. There is definitely a language in still life. Some of it is contrived because I believe, having done a lot of research on the Dutch masters, that was a it was a coming of time. That was they were the Dutch in the 1600s were the masters of still life. And they did it, yes, they did it for Veritas and they did it for Memento Mori, but they also did it to sell, and they were quite good at it. And they sold it to the affluent society because there was a comment that I read and I loved it from a traveler that had been to Holland during that time. And he said in every house that he went to that was affluent, the walls were covered in painting. So the Dutch really appreciated the beauty, and some of our finest artists, my favorite Rembrandt,
Mm.
is it's quite and they did it. They sold their paintings. There was no photographs there, we didn't have selfies and that type of thing. So Van Gogh, well, Rembrandt was the master of selfies. I mean, he had a selfie at every age that he
Mm.
painted. Uh, this is, but even they read stuff into it and they put some meaning into there, and this is some of them. For example, fruit in various, we've already talked about how fruit can show the passing of time or decaying or rotting, and also abundance too. So it can be a language of abundance. We've talked about skulls that, when you see a skull, you think death, it's a certain of
Mm.
mortality is there. Also the candle, passing of time, the burning out, the life. Um, the flowers were definitely a symbol of flowers and of life and growth and beauty. And there's also, as those of you that any of my friends read a lot of Victorian uh, scholars know that in the Victorian age, every flower they gave some kind of symbol and meaning to, the roses and not only the symbols, but also the color of the roses. And it was that way in bygone days as well, that flowers had a meaning. Seashells, I've discussed with you, had a symbol of birth, sometimes of purity and fertility. Mirrors, and this is so, mirrors and watches are, you'll see a lot of open watches and mirrors. Mirrors just, it's a reflection of the soul. And sometimes in these still lives, and I think there was one in one that I showed you, you'll see a reflection in the mirror of the person, of the painter that is, painting uh, the uh, the painting. And then insects. This was the one, I love this one. Insects, because in these, you see these little insects all around. And I never will forget, I was standing in the Met looking at this gorgeous still life. And this little lady, well, she was my age, but she looked older than me, okay. She was standing behind me and she said, "What are all those bugs doing in that picture?" What's the matter with that painter? And I had noticed them, and then I went home and did some research and saw that you're trying to the transition. If you see a little bug in the paint, that transition between the decay, the fertility, and what's going to happen. And then and as we talked about with the mirrors, were the soul. So, my friends, as we come to the end of our time together, we traveled through a world of still life. We began with history, seeing how meaningful objects appear in art as far back as ancient Egypt and Greece and Rome, okay, and into the richness of the Dutch masters, and then also into the work of the contemporary and modern artists. Across the centuries, artists have returned again and again just to the simple things: fruit, flower, bread, glass, books, to try to tell a deeper story. We explored symbolism, discovering how a lemon peel, a fading bloom, a candle can quietly speak about beauty, time, gratitude, and the fragility of life. We practiced how to look not only at art in a museum, but noticing composition, noticing light, texture, and meaning. And we saw how still life is never just objects, but a thoughtful arrangement meant to guide our eye and stir our reflection. Still life reminds us that art does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers.
Mm.
So I'll hope that you will join me at the Comer where we can stand still before still life paintings in person and look closely, sharing observations and learning from one another. Seeing these works up close brings us to a whole new level of appreciation for the artist's skill and the quiet messages held within them. Because what may look like just a painting of fruit and flowers carries not only a beautiful design, but a meaning as well. Now, that was the close of the still life. But I do want to tell you something else that we have going at Art at Noon before we finish. Each morning, our wonderful Dean Kate has a devotion that she's had for almost 14 years, right? Ever since COVID, she started it. And what I am doing now in the morning is I listen to her reflections and then I summarize the reflection on our Facebook Art at Noon page. And then I go and find a piece of art to go with it. And what I'm doing is not just any type of art. I'm trying to teach people and open
Mhm.
minds to art. So it will be, she has been speaking about Genesis and the last two morning, well, for several days now. And her devotion the last couple of days has been on about Sarah and Abraham. This is a painting that I selected to go, and it's from a wonderful woman painter, Susan Mott. She does biblical paintings, and this is one of Sarah, and she has one of Hagar as well. So if you want to find out how that goes with Sarah and Hagar, you need to take a look. Today's message that she did was on the covenant uh, that that God and Abraham had. And this work of art is by a very interesting artist that does it only works in cubes, only in cubes. And this is his title of the painting is called The Covenant. So if you're interested not only in Dean Cates getting a summary of her written summary of her beautiful messages, which is what I try to do. I can't do it as eloquently as she does. And if you want to learn a little bit more about art and new painters, because I pull in sculptures, textiles, art installations. If you're interested in that, in learning more about art, this is a pretty good day-to-day thing. I have a friend that says that she listens to Dean Kate in the morning, and then at night she pulls up uh, this on Facebook and let's get that before she goes to bed. We are at work putting that, for those of you that are not on Facebook, we are working really hard to get it on WordPress. And so it'll be available online for everybody to watch as well. So anyway, I hope to see you, some of you that you can make it to kind of wander Comer with us and have lunch. And the next Art at Noon will be next month. And we are going to be working towards putting background and putting art in the suitcases of those people that are going to Boston. And if you're not going to Boston and you love American art, we're going to be dealing with American artists, and especially those that dealt around the Revolution era day. Trumbull, Gilbert Stuart will do some of his works. We'll hit the Hudson painters. And then I'm going to throw in some really great contemporary artists that you might see in some of these places as well. So for all of you that joined us today, thank you. I hope you have a great day and come back and join us next month.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
So wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.